20 black actors you didn't know were gay. From the throne of a musical empire to the center of a global scandal that divided a nation, Jussie Smollett's name became synonymous with a mystery that Hollywood still can't solve. He was the golden boy of representation, the voice of a generation of black queer youth, until one cold night in Chicago changed everything. Was he a victim of a broken system or the architect of his own downfall? Today we peel back the layers of a legacy caught between historic brilliance and a headline-grabbing legal nightmare. Don't look away. This is the raw truth behind the fall of a legend. What do you believe? Is it time to forgive his past for the sake of his art? Or is the damage irreparable? Drop your thoughts below. Let's settle this in the comments. And if you believe in honoring every side of our history, hit that subscribe button for more Black Excellence Legends. Ncuti Gatwa. Ncuti Gatwa stands as a transcendent force in modern entertainment, embodying a rare blend of electrifying charisma and profound vulnerability. Born in Rwanda before fleeing the genocide to settle in Scotland, his trajectory from a refugee background to international superstardom is nothing short of cinematic. Gatwa's meteoric rise was ignited by his portrayal of Eric Effiong in Sex Education. This wasn't merely a supporting role, it was a cultural earthquake. He infused Eric with a loud and proud spirit that shattered one-dimensional tropes often assigned to black queer characters. His performance earned him a BAFTA Scotland Award and multiple nominations, proving that audiences were hungry for high-octane authenticity. However, the path to the summit was fraught with grueling challenges. Gatwa has been candid about his period of homelessness just before landing his big break, a revelation that underscores his immense resilience. This grit paved the way for a historic milestone, being cast as the 15th Doctor in the long-running British sci-fi institution Doctor Who. By taking the helm of the TARDIS, he broke a 60-year tradition, becoming the first black lead to portray the Time Lord. His Doctor is a sartorial and emotional revolution, brave, flirtatious, and deeply empathetic. Beyond the screen, Gatwa's influence permeates the fashion and social spheres. Recognized as a style icon, he frequently challenges gender norms on the red carpet, mirroring the fluidity of his own identity. He publicly confirmed he is gay in 2023, choosing to live his truth with the same boldness he brings to his craft. By navigating Hollywood and the global stage on his own terms, Ncuti Gatwa isn't just winning awards. He is architecting a future where being your full, unapologetic self is the ultimate prerequisite for greatness. Billy Porter. Billy Porter is a titan of the American stage and screen whose career serves as a masterclass in artistic defiance and spiritual liberation. Born William Ellis Porter II in Pittsburgh, his journey began in the church and the rigorous world of classical theater, yet he spent years battling an industry that deemed him too flamboyant or too much. That narrative shifted permanently when he donned the 6-inch heels of Lola in the Broadway smash Kinky Boots. This role was a seismic event, earning him the 2013 Tony Award for Best Actor in a Musical, and providing Porter the platform to finally confront the toxic masculinity that had long attempted to silence his vibrance. However, it was his portrayal of Pray Tell in the FX series Pose that transformed him into a global cultural phenomenon. Porter's performance, a raw, visceral blend of ballroom ferocity and the tragic weight of the 1980s AIDS crisis, was historic. In 2019, he shattered a concrete ceiling by becoming the first openly gay black man to win the Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Drama Series. Beyond the trophies, Porter has leveraged his visibility to advocate for HIV awareness, sharing his own status in 2021 to destigmatize the conversation and offer hope to millions. Porter's influence extends far beyond acting. He is a revolution in fabric. Whether appearing at the Oscars in a velvet tuxedo gown or the Met Gala as a golden sun god, he uses fashion as a political tool to dismantle gender binaries. Now 56 years old, he stands as an elder statesman of the LGBTQ+ community, a man who refused to diminish his light to make others comfortable. By turning his trauma into transformative art, Billy Porter has not only claimed his throne, but has ensured that the doors he kicked down stay open for every queer black artist following in his flamboyant, fearless footsteps. Justice Smith. Justice Smith is a formidable talent who represents the vanguard of a more inclusive Hollywood, blending an intellectual approach to acting with a raw, undeniable presence. Born in Los Angeles to a family of singers, Smith's artistic lineage is evident in the rhythmic precision of his performances. He first captured the industry's attention in the Netflix musical drama The Get Down, where his portrayal of Ezekiel Figueroa showcased a soulful depth far beyond his years. Unlike many young actors who shy away from complex narratives, Smith has consistently gravitated toward roles that challenge the status quo, from the blockbuster intensity of Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom to the surreal, haunting atmosphere of I Saw the TV Glow. A pivotal moment in his career occurred in June 2020 during the height of global social justice movements. Smith used his platform to publicly come out as queer simultaneously, voicing his support for the Black Trans Lives Matter movement. This act of courage wasn't just a personal revelation. It was a professional manifesto. He rejected the outdated notion that a leading man's sexual orientation should be hidden to preserve marketability. Since then, his career has only accelerated, proving that the modern audience prizes authenticity above all else. His starring role in Dungeons & Dragons: Honor Among Thieves demonstrated his ability to anchor a massive ensemble with wit and charm, while his fashion-forward campaigns for brands like Calvin Klein have solidified his status as a Gen Z icon. Now 30 years old, Justice Smith navigates the industry with a quiet confidence that is reshaping the archetype of the leading man. He seamlessly bridges the gap between high-budget spectacles and intimate, queer-coded storytelling. By refusing to compartmentalize his identity, Smith has become a beacon for young actors of color, illustrating that one's truth is not a barrier to the heights of stardom. It is the very engine that drives it. Dwayne Perkins. Dwayne Perkins is a polymathic force in modern comedy, wielding a sharp satirical wit that dismantles systemic tropes while keeping audiences in stitches. Hailing from the south side of Chicago, Perkins honed his improvisational prowess at the legendary Second City, a training ground that sharpened his ability to weaponize humor as a tool for social commentary. Unlike performers who wait for a seat at the table, Perkins built his own writing for heavyweight programs like Brooklyn Nine-Nine and The Amber Ruffin Show, where his contributions earned him a prestigious Emmy nomination. His voice is distinct, unapologetically Black, undeniably queer, and intellectually fierce, fusing pop culture fluency with high-level critiques of the entertainment industry's narrow view of marginalized lives. His career reached a crescendo with the 2023 release of The Blackening, a horror comedy sensation that he both co-wrote and starred in. The film was a cultural masterstroke, subverting the tired cinematic cliché that the Black character dies first, by placing an entire group of Black friends at the center of the survival game. As Dwayne Perkins brought a nuanced portrayal of a gay man whose bravery and loyalty are never overshadowed by his sexuality. The film's success proved that specific community-driven stories could achieve universal acclaim without sacrificing their soul. Off-camera, Perkins navigates Hollywood with a transparency that is as refreshing as it is revolutionary. Now 35 years old, he stands at the vanguard of a movement where Black queer creators are no longer just consultants on their own stories, but the executive architects of global hits. By blending the absurdity of improv with the grit of real-world activism, Dwayne Perkins is ensuring that the future of comedy is not just diverse, but profoundly, hilariously honest. He remains a testament to the fact that when you speak your truth with enough talent, the world has no choice but to listen. Colman Domingo. Colman Domingo is a titan of craft, a consummate performer whose presence radiates an almost regal authority and a profound, soulful grace. For decades, he navigated the trenches of regional theater and Broadway, quietly building a reputation as an actor's actor before the mainstream world finally caught up to his brilliance. Whether portraying the complex Victor Strand in Fear the Walking Dead or delivering an Emmy-winning performance as the recovering addict Allie in HBO's Euphoria, Domingo infuses every frame with a palpable, vibrating humanity. His mastery lies in his ability to inhabit characters that are simultaneously indestructible and deeply fragile, a testament to his decades of rigorous training and lived experience. The year 2024 marked a historic zenith in his career, with his Academy Award-nominated performance in Rustin Domingo brought the unsung civil rights architect Bayard Rustin out of the shadows of history and into the global spotlight. This role was a perfect confluence of his identity and his artistry, allowing him to portray a black gay man of immense political power and emotional complexity. His subsequent work in Sing Sing further solidified his status as a leading man of unparalleled depth. Beyond acting, he is a visionary director-playwright and producer, crafting narratives through his production company, Edith Productions, that intentionally center marginalized voices with dignity and nuance. Now 56 years old, Domingo stands as a global icon of sophistication and authenticity, recently honored as one of Time's 100 most influential people. Having been openly gay since the nascent stages of his career, he has spent over a decade married to his husband Raul, providing a rare and beautiful blueprint for long-term queer joy in the spotlight. He does not just occupy space in Hollywood, he expands it. By blending sartorial boldness on the red carpet with a relentless commitment to storytelling that matters, Colman Domingo has ensured that his legacy is not just one of prestige, but of profound, transformative liberation for all who follow. J. Harrison Ghee. J. Harrison Ghee is a luminous trailblazer whose career represents a monumental shift in the theatrical firmament. Born in Fayetteville, North Carolina into a deeply spiritual environment, Ghee cultivated a multifaceted artistic vocabulary from a young age, mastering various musical instruments before gravitating toward the magnetic allure of the stage. Their journey is defined by an exquisite fluidity, an ability to command attention through a fusion of towering physical grace and a vocal range that defies conventional boundaries. After honing their skills at the American Musical and Dramatic Academy, Ghee ascended to prominence by stepping into the iconic stiletto boots of Lola in Kinky Boots, a performance that signaled the arrival of a transformative new ego in musical theater. The year 2023 served as a historic inflection point for Ghee and the industry at large. By originating the dual role of Jerry/Daphne in the Broadway adaptation of Some Like It Hot, they delivered a performance of breathtaking nuance, navigating a journey of self-discovery that mirrored their own non-binary identity. This culminated in Ghee winning the Tony Award for Best Actor in a Musical, making them one of the first openly non-binary performers to achieve this pinnacle of prestige. Their victory wasn't just a win for a show, it was a validation of gender-expansive storytelling on the world's most traditional stage. Their momentum continued into 2024, securing a Grammy Award and further solidifying their status as a triple threat, whose impact is measured in both trophies and cultural progress. Offstage, Ghee lives at the intersection of courage and glamour, frequently performing in drag as the captivating Crystal Demure. Now 36 years old, they navigate the world with a philosophy centered on liberation through representation, refusing to be confined by the restrictive binaries that once limited Black queer artists. Whether they are walking a red carpet in avant-garde couture or advocating for inclusive casting practices, Ghee's presence is a radical act of joy. They have become an architect of a new Broadway one, where identity is not a costume to be worn, but a truth to be celebrated. By existing authentically, J. Harrison Ghee is ensuring that the spotlight finally reflects the full spectrum of the human experience. Tituss Burgess. Tituss Burgess is an operatic force of nature, a performer whose stratospheric tenor voice is matched only by his formidable comedic timing and ironclad stage presence. Hailing from Athens, Georgia, Burgess began his journey in the church choir and the University of Georgia's music halls, eventually honing his craft at Walt Disney World before conquering the bright lights of Manhattan. His early Broadway career was marked by his ability to infuse classic roles with a singular high-voltage energy, originating characters like Sebastian the Crab in The Little Mermaid and delivering a show-stopping, sit-down, you're rockin' the boat in Guys and Dolls. However, the world at large truly met Burgess when he stepped into the role of Titus Andromedon in the Netflix cult favorite Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. As Tituss Burgess didn't just deliver jokes, he created a cultural lexicon. His performance was a flamboyant, unapologetic masterpiece that earned him 5 consecutive Primetime Emmy nominations. He masterfully balanced the character's delusions of grandeur with a poignant vulnerability, turning songs like Pinot Noir into viral anthems of self-celebration. Beyond the laughs, Burgess used the role to portray the resilience of a Black gay artist navigating an industry that often tries to diminish his scale. In 2023, he returned to his theatrical roots with a spectacular turn in Moulin Rouge, the musical proving that his vocal instrument remains one of the most powerful and versatile in the business. Now 46 years old, Burgess is an elder statesman of queer excellence, moving fluidly between the recording studio, the small screen, and the Broadway stage. He is an artist who refuses to be pigeonholed, transitioning from high camp comedy to the dramatic weight of the title role in the upcoming Oh Mary scheduled for 2025/2026. Openly gay throughout his entire public life, Burgess lives his truth with a vibrant authenticity that inspires a new generation of performers to embrace their excess as their greatest asset. By centering his identity in every project, he has proven that greatness isn't found in fitting in, but in standing out with a voice that can reach the highest rafters. Newell. Newell is a vocal supernova whose career trajectory represents a magnificent defiance of traditional entertainment boundaries. A native of Lynn, Massachusetts, Newell first catapulted into the collective consciousness as a standout contestant on the Glee project, a break that led to the groundbreaking role of Unique Adams on Glee. As one of the first transgender characters depicted on primetime television, Unique wasn't just a role, it was a revolution. Newell's ability to pair high-octane, glass-shattering vocals with a poignant portrayal of identity struggle provided a lifeline to LGBTQ+ youth, globally proving that difference was a source of undeniable power. The transition from television star to theatrical royalty was seamless, yet marked by a relentless pursuit of excellence. Newell's Broadway debut as Asaka in the revival of Once on This Island was a masterclass in stage presence, but it was the 2023 season that cemented their place in history. Starring as Lulu in the musical Shucked, Newell delivered a performance so electrifying that it transcended the medium. Their rendition of Independently Owned became the stuff of legend, earning them the Tony Award for Best Featured Actor in a Musical. This victory was a watershed moment, making Newell one of the first openly non-binary performers to win a Tony, effectively dismantling the rigid gender categories that have long defined the industry's highest honors. Now 33 years old, Newell operates as a multifaceted artist who refuses to be confined to a single lane. Beyond the stage, they are a formidable force in the music industry, collaborating with dance pop giants like Clean Bandit and The Knox, while consistently headlining global pride events. Identifying as gender nonconforming, Newell uses their platform to advocate for authenticity, demonstrating that one's spirit cannot be contained by traditional labels. Whether hitting notes that seem physically impossible or walking the red carpet in avant-garde silhouettes, Newell remains a beacon of unapologetic joy, a living testament that when you possess a voice this divine, the world has no choice but to change its tune. Keiynan Lonsdale. Keiynan Lonsdale is a breathtaking multidisciplinary artist whose career trajectory reflects a soulful quest for identity and creative liberation. Born in Sydney, Australia to a Nigerian father and an Australian mother, Lonsdale initially harnessed his kinetic energy through dance, a foundation that grants him a unique fluid physicality on screen. He first garnered international attention in the Divergent series and as the high-speed superhero Kid Flash in The Flash and Legends of Tomorrow. However, it was his role as Bram in the landmark film Love, Simon that served as a profound mirror for his personal life. The film's exploration of the coming-out journey resonated so deeply with Lonsdale that it catalyzed his own decision to live openly, shifting him from a teen heartthrob to a powerful advocate for LGBTQ+ visibility. His evolution from a franchise actor to a self-actualized icon is perhaps most visible in his music. Under his own name, Lonsdale releases anthems like Kiss the Boy and Rainbow Dragon, which celebrate queer love and the dismantling of rigid masculine structures. His artistry is a vibrant tapestry of R&B, pop, and personal confession, often accompanied by self-directed visuals that challenge traditional gender presentation. By rejecting the Hollywood pressure to remain ambiguous, Lonsdale has cultivated a brand of radical honesty. He publicly identified as queer in 2017 and later confirmed his identity as a gay man, using his platform to remind his global audience that their magic lies in their authenticity. Now 34 years old, Lonsdale occupies a unique space in the industry as a bridge between the digital native Gen Z audience and the established world of Hollywood blockbusters. He has successfully transitioned from the constraints of superhero archetypes to becoming a symbol of modern fluid artistry. Whether he is walking a runway in avant-garde silhouettes or sharing intimate poetic reflections on social media, he remains a beacon for young queer people of color. Keiynan Lonsdale's journey is a vivid testament to the fact that when you stop running toward other people's expectations, you finally have the speed to surpass them on your own terms. Jaquel Spivey. Jaquel Spivey is a meteoric talent who has fundamentally altered the landscape of contemporary musical theater with his formidable presence and crystalline emotional clarity. A native of Raleigh, North Carolina, Spivey was raised in an environment anchored by strong Black women, a foundation that instilled in him the courage to embrace his queer identity and feminine spirit long before the spotlight found him. After honing his skills at Point Park University, Spivey's ascent was nothing short of a fairy tale. Almost immediately upon entering the professional sphere, he landed the lead role of Usher in the Broadway phenomenon, A Strange Loop. This role, a complex meta-theatrical exploration of Black queer interiority, demanded a performer of immense psychological stamina, and Spivey delivered a performance that was hailed as a transformative masterclass. His work in A Strange Loop garnered him a Drama Desk Award and a prestigious Tony Award nomination for Best Actor in a Musical, signaling the arrival of a new archetype of the leading man, one who is unapologetically soft, fierce, and authentic. Spivey's success proves that stories centered on the intersectional struggles of Black LGBTQ+ individuals can command the highest echelons of critical acclaim. Transitioning from the stage to the silver screen, he brought his magnetic energy to the role of Damien in the 2024 Mean Girls movie musical. By reimagining a fan-favorite character through his own lens, he provided a modern, joyful representation of queer Black excellence to a global cinematic audience, further solidifying his status as a triple threat for a new generation. Now 27 years old, Spivey navigates the entertainment industry with a fearless commitment to visibility. He refuses to diminish his light or conform to traditional masculine expectations, instead using his platform to advocate for gender-expansive representation. Whether he is gracing the red carpet in bold avant-garde silhouettes or sharing his journey of self-acceptance, Spivey remains a beacon of radical vulnerability. His trajectory is a vivid illustration that when the industry finally makes space for specific, honest voices, the results are not just artistically brilliant, they are culturally revolutionary. Jaquel Spivey isn't just a star, he is the architect of a more inclusive future for the American theater. Jeremy Pope. Jeremy Pope is an artistic marvel, a performer whose career trajectory resembles a meteoric ascent fueled by pure, unadulterated talent and a steadfast commitment to his truth. Born in Orlando, Florida, Pope's journey began with a rigorous education at the American Musical and Dramatic Academy, but it was his historic 2019 Broadway season that etched his name into the annals of theater history. In an unprecedented feat, he earned 2 Tony Award nominations in a single year for 2 distinct roles, the soulful Ferris in Choir Boy and the legendary Eddie Kendricks in Ain't Too Proud. This achievement signaled more than just versatility. It showcased a performer capable of bridging the gap between intimate, queer-centered drama and the high-energy spectacle of Motown with seamless grace. His transition to the screen was equally explosive, marked by a collaborative synergy with visionary creator Ryan Murphy. In the Netflix series, Hollywood Pope portrayed Archie Colman, a Black gay screenwriter navigating the prejudices of the 1940s, a role that garnered him an Emmy nomination and allowed him to reclaim a narrative historically denied to men like him. However, it was his visceral performance in the 2022 film The Inspection that solidified his status as a cinematic powerhouse. Portraying a young man who joins the Marines after being rejected by his mother for his sexuality, Pope channeled a raw, vibrating vulnerability that earned him a Golden Globe nomination. He doesn't just play characters, he inhabits their struggles, making the specific experiences of Black queer men feel universal and urgent. Now 33 years old, Jeremy Pope stands as a symbol of the new prestige in Hollywood. He moves fluidly between the recording studio, where he explores his musical identity, and the high-fashion world, where he serves as a muse for major houses. By being openly gay from the onset of his fame, he has bypassed the traditional coming-out narrative in favor of simply existing as a complete, multifaceted artist. Whether he is portraying the iconic Jean-Michel Basquiat on stage or advocating for Black queer visibility behind the scenes, Pope remains a beacon of excellence. He is a testament to the fact that when you refuse to compromise your identity, your voice becomes loud enough to change the world. Dyllón Burnside. Dyllón Burnside is a multidisciplinary visionary whose work serves as a bridge between high-octane performance and profound social advocacy. Born in Pensacola, Florida, Burnside was a creative prodigy fronting a professional R&B boy band at the age of 12 and touring with musical titans like Stevie Wonder and Rihanna. However, this early exposure to the industry's rigid machinery only fueled his desire for a more authentic form of self-expression. This hunger led him to New York City, where he transformed from a pop performer into a classically trained actor and a formidable voice for the marginalized. His breakout as Ricky Evangelista in the FX landmark series Pose was more than a career milestone. It was a cultural awakening. Through Ricky, Burnside articulated the dreams, heartbreaks, and kinetic joy of the Black queer ballroom community, providing a mirror for a generation that had rarely seen its beauty reflected with such dignity. Beyond the cinematic world of Pose, Burnside's artistry is rooted in the theater of truth. Whether he is starring in Broadway's Thoughts of a Colored Man or leading the cast of Holler If You Hear Me, he brings a singular, vibrating intensity to every role. He navigates the intersection of race, sexuality, and faith with an intellectual curiosity that challenges the status quo. Burnside is particularly vocal about dismantling toxic masculinity within the Black community, using his platform to advocate for a softer, more expansive definition of what it means to be a man. His vulnerability is his strength. By sharing his own journey as an openly queer artist, he has deconstructed the macho archetypes that often stifle creative and personal liberation. Now 37 years old, Burnside has evolved into an elder statesman of the new Hollywood, moving seamlessly between acting, music, and public speaking. His recent musical projects continue to explore the nuances of queer Black love, blending soul pop and spoken word into a sonic tapestry of resistance and joy. He is not content with simply occupying space. He is dedicated to expanding it for those who follow. By living at the crossroads of talent and transparency, Dyllón Burnside has ensured that his legacy is not just defined by the characters he plays, but by the courage he inspires in others to live their lives out loud and in full color. Miles Gutierrez-Riley. Miles Gutierrez-Riley represents the exhilarating future of Hollywood, a generation where high-concept stardom and radical authenticity are inseparable. A graduate of Fordham University's prestigious theater program, he first gained critical traction as the recipient of the Denzel Washington Scholarship, a distinction that underscored his technical prowess before he ever stepped onto a professional set. Gutierrez-Riley's breakout arrived through the Amazon Prime survival drama The Wilds, where his performance as Ivan Taylor provided a nuanced intellectual anchor to a chaotic narrative. However, it was his induction into the Marvel Cinematic Universe in the 2024 sensation, Agatha All Along, that transformed him into a global symbol of representation. By portraying Eddie, one of the MCU's first explicitly queer Black characters, he didn't just join a franchise, he expanded the boundaries of who gets to be a hero in the modern mythos. What distinguishes Miles is his commitment to narrative dignity. He gravitates toward roles that explore the intersection of queer identity and everyday humanity, as seen in the heartfelt indie feature, I Wish You All the Best. His approach to acting is academic yet visceral, rooted in the belief that representation is most powerful when it is most honest. By being openly gay since the nascent stages of his career, he has effectively bypassed the traditional industry pressures to conform to marketable ambiguity. Instead, he has leaned into his identity as a source of creative strength, using his growing platform to advocate for more inclusive writers' rooms and authentic casting practices that reflect the true diversity of the global audience. Now 27 years old, Gutierrez-Riley is navigating a trajectory that bridges the gap between indie prestige and blockbuster visibility. He moves with a quiet, focused energy that prioritizes the integrity of the story over the fleeting nature of fame. Whether he is appearing in high-stakes genre pieces like Smile 2 or leading intimate queer rom-coms like Sweethearts, his presence is consistently marked by a sophisticated vulnerability. By refusing to separate his art from his truth, Miles Gutierrez-Riley has become an architect of a new cinematic era, one where being a Black queer man isn't a subplot, but a primary powerful lens through which the world can be understood. Jamal Swain. Jamal Swain is a luminous storyteller whose artistry is deeply rooted in the rhythmic grace of his Southern upbringing and the intellectual rigor of Howard University. Born in Orlando and raised in Birmingham, Alabama, Swain's journey began on the dance floor mastering tap ballet and jazz, a physical foundation that would eventually become the heartbeat of his breakout performance. He catapulted into the global spotlight as Damon Richards' Evangelista in the FX masterpiece Pose. As a young homeless dancer navigating the fierce but familial world of 1980s New York ballroom culture, Swain provided the show's emotional soul. His portrayal was a visceral masterclass in vulnerability in capturing the terrifying yet exhilarating leap of faith required for a queer Black youth to claim his space in the world. What makes Swain's contribution so profound is the seamless alignment between his on-screen narrative and his lived reality. As an openly queer man, he didn't just play Damon, he channeled the collective aspirations and traumas of a marginalized community. Even when personal tragedy forced him to step away from the series, his impact remained indelible, having helped Pose make history with the largest transgender and queer cast in television history. Beyond the camera, Swain is a gifted writer and advocate, utilizing his Howard-honed intellect to craft essays and stories that center Black queer joy. He views his art as a form of activism, consistently challenging the industry to move beyond surface-level diversity toward a more radical structural inclusion of LGBTQ plus voices of color. Now 31 years old, Swain continues to evolve as a multidisciplinary creator, bridging the gap between the theatrical stage and the literary world. He remains a dedicated mentor to young performers, often speaking at universities about the importance of protective authenticity, the act of guarding one's spirit while sharing one's truth with the world. Whether he is developing new theatrical works or advocating for social justice, his presence is marked by a poetic, quiet strength. Jamal Swain has proven that stardom is not just about the height of one's profile, but the depth of one's purpose. By centering his identity, he has ensured that the stories he tells aren't just seen, but felt as a transformative force for change. Kyri. Kyri is a compelling architect of modern television, an actor who seamlessly blends blue-collar grit with a refined intellectual sensitivity. Raised on the south side of Chicago, Kyri's artistic DNA was forged in the city's vibrant community arts programs and later polished at the University of Illinois at Chicago. Before he became a household name, he was a local prodigy, winning a $20,000 Gold Star on the CBS reality show Kid Nation at just 14, a precursor to the disciplined excellence he would bring to the professional stage. His theatrical roots are prestigious, marked by acclaimed performances in Hamlet and Objects in the Mirror, but it was his entry into the One Chicago universe that fundamentally shifted his trajectory. As Darren Ritter on Chicago Fire, Kyri has achieved something rare. He has humanized the intersection of heroism and identity for a massive primetime audience. Originally slated for a brief arc, Kyri's charisma and nuance made Ritter indispensable, leading to his promotion to series regular in 2020. Ritter is not just a firefighter who happens to be gay. He is a character defined by his bravery, his loyalty to Firehouse 51, and his quiet resilience. Off-screen, Kyri is a vocal advocate for LGBTQ+ representation, particularly for young queer people of color who rarely see themselves portrayed as everyday heroes. He co-created and starred in the web series The T, a project dedicated to centering Black queer stories in Chicago, demonstrating his commitment to communal storytelling and creative autonomy. Now 31 years old, Kyri navigates his success with a groundedness that reflects his Midwestern roots. He rejects the notion that an actor must choose between prestige theater and mainstream television, moving fluidly between the two, while maintaining his integrity as an openly gay man. Kyri's presence on a major network procedural serves as a vital signal of progress, a reminder that Black queer identity is not a niche subplot, but an integral part of the American fabric. By living his truth with such unapologetic clarity, Kyri has not only elevated his own career, but has also cleared a path for future generations to serve as both the face of courage and the heart of authenticity. Clark Moore. Clark Moore is a sophisticated talent whose career serves as a bridge between high-fashion aesthetics and ground-level activism. A graduate of Columbia University, Moore's intellectual depth is woven into the fabric of his performances, characterized by a refined wit and an unmistakable screen presence. He rose to prominence as Ethan in the groundbreaking film Love, Simon, where his character provided a vital, unapologetic counterpoint to the central narrative. As the only out student at the beginning of the story, Moore's portrayal of Ethan was a masterclass in resilience and self-assuredness, offering a portrayal of a Black queer youth who refused to diminish his vibrance to fit in. This role wasn't just a supporting turn, it was a cultural signal that the sidekick era was over and a new era of dignified visibility had begun. Beyond the silver screen, Moore has carved out a significant niche as a thought leader and digital pioneer. He is the creator and host of the Soul Food Podcast, a platform dedicated to exploring the intersectional experiences of Black queer men and fostering community through honest dialogue. His ability to navigate the worlds of Hollywood fashion and social advocacy makes him a multifaceted modern icon. As a model, he has graced high-profile campaigns, utilizing his platform to challenge traditional masculine silhouettes and advocate for a more fluid, expressive approach to identity. Moore's career is a testament to the power of intellectual autonomy. He doesn't just wait for roles to define him, he actively creates spaces where his identity can flourish without compromise. Now 34 years old, Moore continues to expand his influence as a producer and writer, focusing on stories that center Black queer joy and complexity. He lives his life with a transparency that serves as a blueprint for the next generation, proving that one can be both a high-fashion muse and a grassroots advocate. By refusing to separate his political convictions from his artistic output, Clark Moore has ensured that his legacy is defined by more than just credits. It is defined by the community he builds and the glass ceilings he continues to shatter. Whether he is on a film set or behind a microphone, his voice remains a steady, powerful force for a more inclusive and truthful entertainment landscape. Crute. Crute is a multifaceted creative dynamo whose presence in Hollywood signifies a new era of the unapologetic multi-hyphenate. Born in Atlanta, Georgia, to a family deeply rooted in the church, his father is a prominent pastor. Crute's artistic journey began with music, a foundation that continues to pulse through his rhythmic acting style. He first gained national attention on the reality competition Majors and Minors, but it was his breakout film role as Alan in the 2019 comedy masterpiece Booksmart that established him as a comedic force. In Booksmart, Crute delivered a performance that was both high camp and deeply sincere, proving that a Black queer character could be the life of the party without being reduced to a punchline. What distinguishes Crute is his refusal to be confined to a single medium. As a singer-songwriter and producer, his music, underpinned by tracks like Ungly and Playground, explores themes of desire, identity, and liberation with a smooth R&B infused edge. He brings this same creative fluidity to his role as Wesley Fists in the Netflix series Daybreak, where he portrayed a pacifist samurai, further subverting the tough guy tropes usually assigned to Black men. By living openly as a gay man from the start of his career, Crute has bypassed the traditional industry pressures of coding his identity. Instead, he uses his platform to showcase that Black queer life is a spectrum of joy, eccentricity, and immense talent. Now 30 years old, Crute is architecting a career that bridges the gap between indie experimentation and mainstream visibility. He is part of a revolutionary wave of performers who view their art as an extension of their personal truth. Whether he is stealing scenes in the satirical horror comedy Honk for Jesus, Save Your Soul, or releasing genre-bending EPs, his work is consistently marked by a fearless sense of self. Crute is not just an actor or a musician. He is a cultural architect who is ensuring that for the next generation, being your full, vibrant self isn't just an option, it's the greatest competitive advantage. Darryl Stephens. Darryl Stephens is a cornerstone of modern Black queer cinema, a trailblazer who carried the mantle of representation long before it was considered a marketable asset in Hollywood. Born in Pasadena, California, Stephens refined his craft through the cultural crucible of UC Berkeley's theater scene before landing the role that would define an era, Noah Nicholson, in the groundbreaking series Noah's Ark. As the lead of the first television show centered specifically on the lives of Black gay men, Stephens became an immediate cultural icon. His portrayal of Noah was revolutionary for its time, offering a vision of a Black man who was sensitive, fashionable, and unapologetically romantic, providing a necessary antidote to the hypermasculine stereotypes that dominated the early 2000s. The longevity of Stephens' career is a testament to his resilience and the profound loyalty of his audience. Unlike performers who feared being pigeonholed, he leaned into his identity, becoming the face of the independent Black queer film movement with starring roles in projects like Boy Culture and the film adaptation of Noah's Ark, Jumping the Broom. His work is characterized by a sophisticated, soulful stillness that allows viewers to feel the internal weight of his characters' journeys. Beyond acting, Stephens is an accomplished author and educator, having published Shorty Freeze, a novel that explores the complexities of growing up at the intersection of race and sexuality, further solidifying his role as a chronicler of the Black LGBTQ+ experience. Now 51 years old, Stephens stands as a bridge between the pioneers of the past and the new guard of today. He has watched the industry evolve from a place of exclusion to one where stars like Ncuti Gatwa and Colman Domingo can thrive, knowing that his early courage helped pave that path. He remains active in the industry, recently appearing in the critically acclaimed series Be Positive and continuing to lend his voice to projects that prioritize authentic queer storytelling. Darryl Stephens didn't just wait for the world to change. He acted as a catalyst for that change, proving that a career built on truth and dignity is not just possible, it is enduring. Jussie Smollett. Jussie Smollett is a figure of immense talent and profound complexity, whose career has been defined by both historic artistic heights and unprecedented public controversy. Born into a family of performers, Smollett was a child actor before finding global stardom as Jamal on the hit musical drama Empire. His portrayal of Jamal was a watershed moment for television. As a soulful R&B powerhouse and the gay son of a hip-hop mogul, he brought the nuances of Black queer identity into millions of households. His performance and the music he produced for the show successfully challenged the intersectional taboos of masculinity and homophobia within the music industry, making him a symbol of progress and a voice for the marginalized. However, Smollett's narrative shifted dramatically in 2019, following a highly publicized legal saga involving allegations of a staged hate crime in Chicago. The ensuing media firestorm and legal proceedings led to a conviction, which he has consistently appealed, creating a deep fracture in his public image and career trajectory. Despite this, Smollett has remained resilient, pivoting toward independent filmmaking. He made his directorial debut with the 2021 film B-Boy Blues, an adaptation of James Earl Hardy's classic Black queer novel, which was praised for its vibrant and loving depiction of Black gay life. This move signaled his determination to continue telling stories that matter to his community, even from the periphery of the mainstream industry. Now 43 years old, Smollett occupies a singular, contentious space in the cultural conversation. To some, he remains a cautionary tale of the pressures of fame. To others, he is a survivor of a complicated justice system. Regardless of the public verdict, his contribution to the visibility of Black queer men on primetime television remains an undeniable piece of media history. By transitioning into a producer and director, he is attempting to reclaim his narrative through the lens of a creator rather than just a performer. Jussie Smollett's journey serves as a stark reminder of the volatile nature of visibility, where the same spotlight that illuminates a path for others can also become a focal point for intense scrutiny. Jussie Smollett remains one of the most polarizing figures in modern entertainment. After achieving global stardom as Jamal on Empire, where he shattered hip-hop taboos and gave a voice to Black queer youth, his career was derailed by a highly controversial legal battle in Chicago. Despite the media firestorm, Smollett has pivoted toward directing, focusing on authentic stories like B-Boy Blues. His journey serves as a complex reminder of the volatility of fame. Can his historic contributions to Black queer representation ever be separated from his legal controversies? Or has his legacy been permanently redefined by the headlines?